If you carry a gun that's shaped like a brick, or it weighs more than a toddler, or maybe it just makes you not want to carry anymore, we need to have a talk. Well, all right. Hey guys, Jeremy with Middle Tennessee Firearms Training out on the range today. We are starting a new series of videos and we're going to call it the Blueprint for Concealed Carry. This is going to be episode 1 in that stretch of videos. But what we're going to talk about today is the 5 biggest mistakes people make when selecting their concealed carry gun. The gun that they're going to carry with them every day, their EDC, as we like to call it in this world. And we're going to talk about those 5 big mistakes. First, though, I want y'all to be mindful of, as we go through this video, I want you to think back to maybe when you first bought a gun for concealed carry. I want you to think of some things that maybe went through your process and maybe some mistakes that maybe you made along the way or some pitfalls that you avoided along the way. Share those in the comments. I'm very excited to hear about some of those. Guys, everybody has different experiences when they're walking into that gun store. It can be intimidating, it can be exciting, it can be just a nerve-wracking experience. All of those things. Love to hear about your experience. All right, let's dive right in here. Number 1 on the list would be size of the gun, whether it be too big or too small. Look, we're all different body types. Big guys essentially try to jump into maybe a mid-size compact size. I'll call it a compact here. The Glock 19 is their compact. But for a lot of people, the Glock 19 is very good. For some, they may have to go something thinner, smaller. That's the Glock 43X. Maybe then going down a bit smaller is the original Hellcat or a P365, what have you. Be careful of not going too small. Be careful of not going too big. All kinds of things factor in there. How it's worn on your body. You need to consider those things. We'll talk about that one in another step. But the size of the gun definitely matters. Number 2. Chasing the caliber. I mean, chasing it like it is some kind of match on Tinder. And you are just like, gotta have this. A lot of times I hear that. It's usually people chasing the 45. People thinking the 45 is the biggest, baddest round around. And around. But anyways, that was unintended, but it happened. But people chase that and think, oh, that's gotta have it. It's God's round, right? 45. Well, I believe the round best for you, the individual, however you've trained and practiced with others, is one that you can be accurate and get good follow-up hits and be fast with. Shooting something that's going to cause you to bounce all over the place because you don't have good recoil management and because you don't train with it regularly doesn't mean you need to be carrying a 45, or maybe you just don't have strong hands to begin with. No matter how much you train with a 45, you still might be bouncing around a good bit. Whatever the case may be, just don't go chasing your carry gun based solely on caliber. That said, I've probably turned some people off or made them upset about that. Let me know in the comments about that if you want. I don't care. But it's not all about the caliber. It's more about shot placement, in my opinion. All right, number 3 on the list. Look, we've talked about size. We've talked about shootability and the don't chase the calibers. Number 3 on the list would be something you trust your life to, not trusting the meme gun. And what do I mean by the meme gun? It could be a gun that you've seen from some online dealers and they have like a skull backplate or some Cerakote job on there. It just looks really cool. You walk into the gun store and the first thing you see is they have some really cool looking stuff on sale, right? Forget about cool factor of what it looks like and the extra accessories that may be on it. Know something about the manufacturer, know something about the reliability of that gun, do some research, check there's tons of online sources now and checking guys that are doing reliability tests on guns, and make sure the company that is manufacturing the gun has a good track record of being readily available for customer service. That's a huge aspect to it. Don't just go out there and jump on whatever is new and flashy on the market. That's not always a good thing. And then just because it's cool looking doesn't mean it needs to be the gun, right? All right, number 4, another big mistake I see is a lot of people don't even consider how they're going to be carrying the gun. In other words, they're like, okay, I've settled in on this Springfield Hellcat. Then somebody says, okay, you need a holster for it now. And they're like, right. Well, I don't know if I'm going to carry here, on the hip, appendix, 6 o'clock. I don't know. Well, I'll give you a little warning sign here for some of us guys that the shorter the gun's not always the best thing. Again, you might think it might be okay, but when you start bending over, flexing a little bit, doing things that you do on a day-to-day basis of squatting down and bending over, picking things up off the ground, picking up your kids even, a holster like this, it's nothing wrong with the holster. It's the length of the barrel. It's the size of the gun. The gun starts to bend and flex and poke into you. Look, this goes back to the size thing on the gun too, is good poke, prod, print. However, you got to consider how you're going to carry the gun first. This goes for women too. If they're going to have a purse carry gun, you don't necessarily want it to be the smallest thing in the purse that you're having to fish around and find. You could go a little bit bigger on the gun. So number 4 would be consider how you're going to carry the gun before you select that said gun, right? And number 5, being able to try before you buy. That's so important, and it's not easy to do, but I can name a place right now that gives you the ability to try out before you buy, and that's us. Middle Tennessee Firearms Training. One thing we do with private classes and even in our full-blown classes, we give you the option if you want it. If you email me before and say, hey, I'd like to try out a gun, what do you have? Well, we've got Glock 19s, we've got 47, we've got 43Xs, we've got a regular 43, we've got P365s. We've got a whole slew of some of the most popular carry guns on the market, and the whole idea there is to give people the option to try before they go out and buy. Because the last thing you want to have is that $700 purchase or $600 purchase, whatever you choose, and again, it end up being a sock drawer gun, man, because you just don't like carrying it, you don't like shooting it, so it just sit in the sock drawer and that's it. I've been there. We've all probably bought a gun that immediately, like 3 weeks later, we've shot it a few times and we've gone like, you know what, this really wasn't, it's not that great. We've been there. You don't have to be there. You don't have to go there. You don't have to experience that. Get out there and try before you buy. A lot of these places that have a range on site, they'll have rentals that you can try out. Go do that. I encourage that 100%. It's well worth it. May even help you zero in on the caliber so you don't go chasing that caliber again, right? I appreciate you guys tuning in. Guys, if there's something I missed, there's a mistake you've made or a mistake you feel is worth mentioning, please put it in the comment sections below. And I'd like to hear from people's experiences that they've had. I've worked in a gun store. I've seen it. I've been all over the board on it. So I doubt there's something I haven't heard before, but hey, you never know these days. There's always something crazy story out there. I appreciate you guys very much. Again, if you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, train hard, train safe. Jeremy with Middle Tennessee Firearms Training. Educate, train, defend. Hope to see you on the range soon.